Hey, sweet souls. Welcome back to Conscious Lifestyle Coaching. My name is Raileigh Duschen. I'm an author, poet, speaker, and healer. Let me wipe this real quick. Here we go. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about how to live in community, as that is what I am doing right now, and it can be very difficult. I am someone who is very much a lone wolf. In fact, in this past week, I just want to disappear into the mountains and be alone and read my books and write my books and care about myself. But that is not the reality. I'm being shifted into someone who I'm a caregiving nature. I love to embody the divine mother, even though I'm not a mother right now. I care about people. But there's a balance of taking care of oneself and taking care of other people. And that can be difficult to find if you are in a position where you are leading other people, you are caring about other people, or you're living with other people. So if this title resonates with you, perhaps you're seeking community, perhaps you're already living in community. And I find this topic important to share tonight as we are, as a society, perhaps shifting into that. And it's one of the most ancient ways of survival, to rely on other people, to live in village, and to support one another. So when we are in that dynamic, in that environment, and you're not used to it, it can be extremely overwhelming. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there's somebody walking into your energy. At least I find that for myself. And it's difficult to find space to expand before you do anything. When you're living in community, you have to think about other people. Whose space is this? Who is sharing this space? Who might enter? And so community can feel tiresome, especially if you're someone who values solitude. Just because you're present doesn't always mean you're available. So I'm learning to set boundaries with others, even if it's difficult. Even though I'm here and you can speak to me, having the social awareness to know, hey, I am busy right now and I cannot speak to you, but sharing it in a loving way. That is difficult. And so if you're inspired to live in community, these are some things to think about. And if you're thinking about it, or if you're praying for it, perhaps you're praying for soul tribe, or as I like to say, spiritual family, or just something that's functional to your lifestyle right now, to live in community with others, to think about it's, while it's difficult, it's also very liberating to live in a community like this, because you never know who you're going to meet. Each day is an adventure. It's amazing to see what is manifested, what is created without intention or control. It just so happens you land in the same place as another. You have manifested each other, you have attracted each other, and you have this beautiful conversation. And this can happen often. Living in community allows you opportunity to learn so much wisdom, so many skills from others. There's this diminishing of leadership sometimes, in terms of having one appointed person to always lean on. There's so many other people, people with equal wisdoms and skills and leadership. And so it does ironically take the burden off each and every one of us when we live in such a large community. And so not one person has to carry the burden of everybody else. It can be transferred, it can be channeled elsewhere. And there's so many different facets of a community where individualism can shine. It does come forth. It is possible. And so I'm learning to diminish and to heal my fears of living with so many other people. Today, everywhere I seem to go, I just can't find my space. It is difficult, especially when you're sharing so much resource, and when resources are low, it can feel scary. especially if you come from a mindset or background of lack of poverty consciousness. And so a competition can sink in. But what has helped me today is to find the areas and the spaces where my soul is calling and finding that space where it calls to me. And when I find that space, and for me, it's in the garden, it's in the food forest. And finally, I find my calm, I find my centered, I am grounded. No one else is there. Even though it's such a large property and there's so many people, why is no one else there? And so it is possible to find that balance. And when I finally found my solitude, and I always tend to go walk into nature right after sunset. Something about it, it makes me feel so alive. It's when my creativity is most active in the evening, and I always find my space in nature um, around this time. And I finally reached that point of gratitude for how many people I got to interact with, even if it's for a moment driving by, how many new people approached me today. I got to cleanse my energy. Having the skills is to know when it is time to cleanse, how to cleanse. You get to discover that. And that is the beautiful magic of community as well. So I don't want to spend too much time today being online. I know it's a Friday night, other people are doing way more important things, but I wanted to share and hopefully inspire someone to pray for and to seek and to wait for that community that they desire. It is out there. I have found it now, and it's still not in perfection of everything I could ever want. Especially for me, I'm one of the only very few people of color here, and it can feel isolating still to not be understood. Um, I want to be held by people who look like me sometimes, and that's hard to find, but I know I'm here for a reason. I've been called here for a reason. And so, whatever community calls you in, allow it. Open your heart to it, open your mind to it. It may not look like everything you want. It may not even provide everything you've asked for, but to find any type of community that does have the intention to welcome you is such a blessing. It's rare to find, especially here in America. It's very individualistic. And especially right now, there's a silent suffering as prices of food continue to rise. And so living in this community where we're sharing space to grow food together is such a blessing that I understand I'm very privileged to have. And it's my intention in this space, in this community, to open it up for community gardening and to teach other people how to grow food. And that is why I'm here. So when you're living in community, everybody has a sacred purpose. Um, no one is truly lost in the waves of this vast ocean of so many people in one space. And finding that position, finding what calls to you, things that you can master, things that you can share with others. That is what community can provide. So if you're coming in, listening, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How have been your experience in finding a community where your heart can be seen, not always understood. I wrote that in my book. It's okay to be seen and not understood. The community provides opportunities to learn so much about yourself through the interactions of other people. Um, Thank you for coming in and sharing. Yes, I find that sharing with other people how to um, resource our own sustenance is super important. Um, we feel so disempowered right now, I believe, even in developed modern societies, because we're relying on larger systems where there is a lack of connection to feed us, and that can be a very dangerous place to be. Um, and losing our connection with nature and the abundance and the medicines is also dangerous to our spirit. So I also pray that this message empowers you to keep sustaining yourself and teaching other people your skills, not because of fear or lack of resources, but just sharing in the abundance. We have nothing to fear. There is no lack of resource if we're always constantly sowing and sharing with one another. So this is me kind of sharing my consciousness as I elevate out of poverty consciousness. I'm in a very abundant place. I seem to have so much of everything I need, and I kind of fluctuate in and out of that. But right now, I'm stabilizing into true prosperity. Prosperity, not in terms of being super, super rich, but prosperity of resources, prosperity in the people around me where I can learn so much. And there's just a beautiful interaction every single day where someone makes me laugh or someone checks in on me. So I have to shift my perceptions of wanting to be alone and live like the lone wolf I can be. I can be that independent and not need anyone. Um, but I'm learning to receive. I'm learning to embrace all that is around me. And so if you're listening now or later, I pray that you open your eyes. If you really truly think you're alone, I guarantee there are so many people who are waiting on you to open your heart to them and to ask for help. Um, that is what I believe is a mental disease is kind of taking over humanity at this time. Um, in part because of technology and other things too, where we're afraid. We're afraid to reach out to other people. We're afraid to make new friends. We have this social awkwardness, I think, also kind of developed out of COVID-19. And so we have to break out. I feel this tension right now where we want to revert back to that solitude and that fear of the pandemic. But I am trying at least to set the intention that we can't go back there. We can't let people suffer in illness and disease alone. And that is also the part of community of if there's someone sick, we all have to be conscious of it and aware of it. We're all in this same germ bubble now. So how can we work together? And it's difficult, especially when there's so many imposing and different beliefs around how to heal, how to protect oneself from disease. And but again, the beautiful part about community is that you're always conscious of other people and how connected you are and how your actions are always going to affect someone else. And so we can also lean on each other. Uh, if someone is sick, how can we take care of them? And when you are sick in community, you can trust you will always be taken care of. How can you not when there's so many other people around you who care about you, who know who you are, and they live with you? So just sharing tonight my journey in living in community after being in solitude and hermit mode, living in cottages by myself, or just being on the road, traveling, moving place to place. And now I'm trying to root, I'm trying to receive and to be here, to feel belonging. My heart struggles with that sense of acceptance because I struggle to accept myself sometimes. So I paint this illusion in this picture around me that I don't belong here. I'm not accepted, especially when I am different. I am a very unique individual. But looking beyond that, the surface, everybody is so unique here in my community. And so the uniqueness kind of dissolves, and there is just that same heart and intention of gratitude to be here and to be alive, and to be in each other's presence, embracing connection once again. But that fear, that ego still wants to come in and push us all into that solitude, push us all into that fear that we're alone in this world. And that's sad. And I think we all need to take responsibility to help fight that and to make sure that we don't feel alone, obviously, but making sure other people don't either. Making other people feel seen and accepted. It can save lives. I believe mental health is one of the scariest diseases in our time right now. The rise of suicide. We should be very concerned about that, especially after the pandemic when we have isolated and so we're hermiting in our homes, some of us alone. What does that do to our psyche? Terrible, terrible things. When we're covering our face and we can't even speak to one another, that's terrifying. And so, as we heal as a human collective globally right now, after that pandemic a couple years ago, I encourage you, and I'm encouraging myself in this moment to embrace vulnerability, to be weird, just shine, allow people in. Don't be afraid to commune together at this time, especially if you're struggling to afford food. Room together. Rent here in America is insane. Homelessness is on the rise. It's not okay, but there is a beautiful healing to it at this time. How we can come together, how families can unify and empower themselves again, healing relationships, realigning relationships to our values and to our beliefs. So I just wanted to share, and I hope whoever listens now or later, to know it's possible to find community and to live in it, even if you're a hermit, even if you like to be alone like I do. It can be a very, very beautiful thing. And I think it's one of the most healing medicines that we can find for each other right now, is to embrace that community. Whether you are related to others or not, you can feel that sense of family and belonging. So that's the message. Super short tonight. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend or enjoy the rest of your night or day when you watch this. And if I can be of support to you, please let me know. My email is Raileigh@consciouslifestylecoaching.com. If you would like to apply for coaching, please do. I'm not sure I can accept anymore, but I'm going to try if it really calls to you. And then my books are available, of course, and I hope to see you guys in the Medicine Garden on Thursdays. I don't show up unless you guys register, so I know who's coming in. So please do. And yeah, thank you for being on this journey. Peace and love to you all. I will talk to you again soon. And yeah, be well.